Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something called the Metabolic Symphony. It's a really powerful way to think about our health, It's all about looking past those quick fixes and really understanding the root cause of why so many of us feel like we're struggling with our energy, our weight, and just our overall wellness. So what's really going on inside our bodies?
So what's causing our internal orchestra to play so out of tune? We're not talking about a small problem here. It's what you could call a deep metabolic block, and it's something that completely disrupts our body's natural rhythm. Let's pull back the curtain and see what's actually happening.
All right, so before we can even get to the solution, we have to understand the problem. Really understand it. So this first section is all about this deep metabolic block. It's the core issue, and we're going to get to know it by its real name: insulin resistance.
So what in the world is insulin resistance? Well, here's a fantastic way to think about it. Imagine your cells have basically gone deaf. They just can't hear the messages that the hormone insulin is trying to send them. This isn't just some number on a lab report, you guys. It's a fundamental breakdown in your body's entire communication system, and it makes it incredibly inefficient at using energy. And the consequences? Oh boy, they're like a chain of falling dominoes. See, when that communication breaks down, your body can't use energy properly. So what does it do? It starts storing more and more of it as fat. And that first domino then triggers all the others, like chronic inflammation and even a massive disruption to the trillions of helpful bacteria living in your gut. Okay, so if that's the problem, we can't just keep treating the symptoms, right? That's not going to work. We need a completely new reset logic. This next section is all about moving beyond just putting a Band-Aid on the issue and finally getting to the true root cause. Now, this slide shows a really interesting contrast. On one side, you've got modern approaches that are great at targeting specific hormones, like GLP-1, which helps tell your brain you're full. They're amazing at managing symptoms. But on the other side, there's a more holistic idea. Instead of just managing one signal, what if you could reset the entire system? The gut bacteria, the hormones, and the cells all at once.
And this quote right here, it just nails the core philosophy perfectly. The goal isn't to just turn off the alarm bells, the symptoms. It's about actually finding the source of the fire by targeting the real mechanisms that are causing the problem in the first place.
So how is this reset actually achieved? This brings us to the very heart of the concept, the two-part symphony. And just like in a real orchestra, there are two key sections that have to work in perfect harmony. You have one that activates the gut and another that regulates the cells.
So here it is, the two-step process in a nutshell. First, you start with activation right at the gut level, using a Yerba Mate Kombucha. Then you follow that up with regulation at the cellular level, using a formula called Fitness Slim 3xBiotics. So let's take a look at how each part plays its unique and critical role.
All right, first up is the Yerba Mate Kombucha. Now, I want to be clear. This is not just some trendy fermented tea. Its real secret, its power, lies in how it gets transformed. First, by the fermentation process, and then by the trillions of microbes living inside our own gut.
This is where the real magic happens. The yerba mate starts out with these compounds called CGAs, but you should think of them like raw ingredients that need to be cooked. The fermentation process and your own gut bacteria. They're the chefs. They transform these initial ingredients into something way, way more powerful. That's why it's called a pro-compound. It only gets activated after it reaches your gut, where it then helps stimulate that key hormone GLP-1 that we were talking about earlier.
So the result is this incredible multi-pronged attack on that metabolic block. It stimulates GLP-1 to help control your appetite and blood sugar. It modulates your gut. It reduces cravings by talking directly to your brain, and it lowers that chronic inflammation, all while giving you a clean, natural source of energy. Pretty cool, right?
Now for the second instrument in our orchestra. The gut has been activated, it's sent out that first important signal. And this is where Fitness Slim 3xBiotics comes in. Its job is to take that signal and carry it to a much deeper, cellular level. The key mechanism here is the activation of something called AMPK. The easiest way to think about AMPK is as your body's master energy regulator. It's like a master switch. When you flip this switch on, you're basically telling your cells to stop storing fat and start burning it for energy. And that, right there, dramatically improves your insulin sensitivity. And how does it flip that switch? Well, it's through a whole team of carefully chosen ingredients.
You've got gymnema and chromium helping out with blood sugar, garcinia and citrus targeting appetite and that deep belly fat, and then fermented extracts to give the microbiome some extra support. Each one has a very specific job to do in the overall mission.
And here you can see how the symphony truly comes together. The Yerba Mate Kombucha is like the conductor, waving the baton to start the music. It kicks off the entire conversation in the gut, sending out those crucial hormonal signals to the rest of the body.
And then Fitness Slim acts like an amplifier. It takes that initial signal, it boosts it, and it directs it with absolute precision right to its target, the cells themselves. It creates a totally complete circuit, from the gut's very first note to the cell's final action.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? This final section is all about the daily activation, the simple, practical protocol to keep this metabolic symphony playing beautifully all day long.
The daily protocol is designed to be incredibly simple. You take the Fitness Slim before lunch to get your cells primed and ready to energy. Then you just sip on the diluted Yerba Mate Kombucha in your water throughout the day. What this does is provide a gentle, constant signal from your gut to your brain, which helps keep your appetite and blood sugar stable for hours.
So the ultimate goal here is to create a continuous metabolic effect. It's a system that doesn't just help reduce the energy coming in, but more importantly, it makes your body fundamentally more efficient at burning the energy it already has. And that brings us to the final, crucial question. This whole approach is built on a massive shift in perspective, from just managing symptoms to actually resolving the underlying cause. So the question to really think about is, are you ready to conduct your own metabolic symphony?